The Pies lose 2 close games in a row. Still on top of the table, only by 2 points. Let's talk about it. So I went into this game pretty optimistic, in the sense that I thought Freo were gettable. And even with our outs, I thought, okay, we should still be able to sort of go through and win this game. And it was looking pretty good. That first quarter we give up 3 or something goals in a row. And then in that, the second and third, we're kind of sort of playing a little bit more of our football, especially in that second anyway. 5 goals in that second. And then in that second half, especially that third quarter, it was all Collingwood. And in typical Collingwood fashion, we have insane amounts of inside 50s, but we keep kicking it to their defenders and intercept defenders, and our forwards aren't putting body pressure on. And I thought that was the tale of the tape today, that it just looked like we were purposely bombing it long in hopes that something would happen, and it won't happen. And it's pretty much happened in all of our losses, maybe except for that Gold Coast loss last week, but definitely in the Geelong game, and definitely in the Giants game right at the start. The main reason we lost those games, yes, whatever, there are the reason, but I think the main reason is we're kicking it long in hopes that someone tall would mark it and put it on their heads. But Sam Taylor was marking it in the Giants game, and whoever was in the defense in that Geelong game, and now in this game, I reckon in that third quarter, sorry, Fremantle had 6 defensive 50 marks, like maybe not contested, but we were kicking it in hope, and they were just marking the ball. And same in that last quarter, it was happening. And I thought that was, the tale of the tape. Now, last week, I wasn't upset after the game, right? Yes, we didn't play well, but then in that second half, we, from being 40 points down to nearly winning the game. And I was like, okay, at least we put in that effort, at least we tried. I am absolutely freaking livid, right? Look, before I get right into the crux of it and go on a bit of a tangent and a rant, let me just say that all credit to Freo, right? All credit to Freo. I wrote them off at the start. I said, they've won 7 of their last 8 games. They don't look okay. And look, they had pretty much a full team that I sort of know of, maybe without Alex Pearce and maybe 1 or 2 other players, but they had a pretty much full side. They kicked those last 4 goals in that last quarter. They were down by 22 points. They did a Collingwood on Collingwood. So big congratulations to them. That's, well done. Good side. They'll play finals. They're a good side, right? Now, Collingwood had every single opportunity to win this game, and they were just so nonchalant about it. And it just looked like, I don't want to sit here and say, I look like they didn't care, or look like, of course these players care, right? Of course these players care. But it just turned to crap. At some stage, especially in that third quarter, we should have been burying them. And then in the fourth quarter, we kick 2 of the first goals, and then we just disappear. Like, it doesn't happen like that. Like, you need to be putting these teams away. These last 2 games, top of the ladder or not, we should have been winning these last 2 games. And we're sitting here, we win those last 2 games, we're sitting here 3 games clear on top of the ladder, and we've got the minor premiership, right? I've always said this, I don't care if we come first or second. I just want that top 2 spots because I want to play home finals. I want to play Melbourne finals. I don't want to go to Adelaide, I don't want to drop out of the top 2, but that's kind of what it's looking like at the moment if we keep playing like this. And for the most part, I thought the execution at times, most of the time for us, the execution was spot on, and I thought it was really, really good. We looked good at times, and it was just that going forward, like, we just couldn't go forward. And the thing that upsets me is some of the efforts from our forwards were just non-existent. We should have been pushing them around, and we just weren't doing that. But then you go into our defense, and I know that our defense is really shot at the moment. No Houston, no Howell, no Frampton. We shouldn't be letting Patrick Voss kick 6 goals. Credit to him. That's incredible. Deals to play Essendon, a really good story. First game of the MCG, kick 6 goals. Credit to him. We shouldn't be letting him kick 6 goals. I thought they swapped Darcy Moore and Brayden Maynard over a little bit too late. I think Voss had kicked 3 or 4 goals before they made that swap. I thought Maynard should have been on him after his first 2 goals. It's just that's not Moore's position, but I know that Moore has to play the Frampton and the Howe role now. It would have been a little bit different if Howe was in the side. I know Charlie Dean got in there. He did some okay things. Still, I love Charlie Dean, and he's such a nice dude. I know we need him in there, but I just we he just couldn't get the job done when we sort of needed him there. But there was everyone in little bits and pieces were dropping their colours. Even Nick, right? 43 disposals, played really well. One, Josh goes into the middle, Nick goes into the half-back line. We talked about this. That's incredible. I love Nick on the half-back line. That's where he was getting most of his possessions. I love that quarterback role that he's playing now that Josh is a little bit more in the middle. I loved that. I love that. But even some of his kicks going inside 50, everyone dropped their colours at times. But then you look on the flip side, and at times we looked really good. We're streaming out, and I thought Isaac Quaynor played a decent game. It was just that right at that last bit of the game, it cooked us. And I said on my preview of the game, I said, we're going to have to watch out. Fremantle are a good last quarter side. They're going to store their gas and then come out. And what did they do in that last quarter? They absolutely annihilated us. And it's just really, really bloody annoying. There were a couple of guys that really were just incredible. I thought Bo McCreary on his return was insane, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the Swoop standouts tomorrow and stuff like that. But there were a couple of standouts, and Ned Long and all these sort of guys, and I thought for the most part, we should have won this game. I think that's what's upsetting me the most, that we should have won this game. Fremantle kicked some goals because we just switched off. And these lapses in concentration, much like the lapses in concentration against Gold Coast last week, cost us the game. And it doesn't get any easier from here. We get Richmond, who smashed West Coast, right? Then we get Brisbane. Then we get Adelaide. Then we get come on, man. It is, not even, we get Brisbane, Hawthorn, then Adelaide. It doesn't get any easier from here. We shouldn't have been dropping these 2 games, and we dropped them. Yes, you can say, and I said it. I said the umpiring was atrocious. Both ways, mind you. Umpiring was atrocious both ways. We were getting free kicks we shouldn't have. There was a couple of 50s that probably shouldn't have been there. There was one that for that descent that shouldn't have been there. But then Fremantle were getting free kicks that weren't there either, like that last one for Shea Bolton. And yes, I understand we were 4 goals up, and it's on us. And I agree, it is this loss is definitely on us. It's just shocking how we played in that last quarter, and how we played in that last half. Just the definition of they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And we just kept bombing along. Someone on my Instagram comment said that is like the Mason Cox effect. And I think they're right. Mason Cox gets subbed out. I didn't see what his numbers were. He had 8 disposals and 2 marks. You can't be doing that as a big forward. That can't be your numbers. And one miss. We had chances to win it. And the frustrating thing is, we're back in the pack now. 2 points clear on top. There's a lot. Well, I don't even know if there's a lot to sort of change. I don't think there's a lot that needs to be changed. But I think we're a really good team when we're lowering the eyes and hitting targets going forward. And I see it at training. These guys are really lowering their eyes. They're finding the play. They're hitting someone on the lead here. Then they're looking back in and they're hitting someone in the 50-minute, and they're trying to get it closest to goal instead of out from 50 and bombing it long. It's just some dumb decisions from some players really cost us. I don't want to single out anyone, but there were some dumb decisions from some players that really cost, especially in that last quarter. But all in all, it was that sort of game plan of bomb it long, which isn't our style, and I can't wait to watch the Craig McRae presser and see what he says about that. Um, I'm just really, really frustrated, and I don't really get this frustrated after games. Um, but I'm just really ticked off. Like I'm really upset. I'm really upset because we shouldn't have dropped this game. We shouldn't have dropped last week's game, and now we're back in the pack. But I know that in 2023 we lost 2 games that we shouldn't have lost, and we've come out and we won the flag that year. So that's what I'm going on. If I'm going to leave you with a positive, because that's what I want to do with Swoop, I'm telling you, we dropped those 2 games in 2023, went on to win the flag. Um, I think this is the kick up the ass that we needed. There's some players that are cruising, and we get a few players back. I'm hearing that Jordan De Goey is going to play at some level next week. Is it against Richmond as a sub? Is it against Frankston in the VFL? But once we get Geordie back, Frampton back, Bobby Hill back, Jeremy Howe back, Dan Houston back. Come on, man. We're going to be okay. This just really, really upset me, but we're going to be okay. Maybe this is the losses that we needed. I'm going to keep telling myself that. Bring on Richmond next Sunday. It's a big week this week for Swoop. There's going to be a lot of videos going out. Michael Zarafa is coming on the Dutch and Swoop podcast on Wednesday. It's my birthday on Thursday, so I'll be obsolete on that day. So it's a big week coming up. Let me know your thoughts on this game down below. Until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.